So I'm just waiting for my horse to finish eating, and I'm just sitting here with a beer and my cat. Thought I'd share one story of my trip while interning. It started in Wyoming. I was staying at a rodeo family's place, and when I was at their place, it was really nice. I had my own room, which was like a total upgrade from where I had been before, like my own apartment almost. And it was super nice, and they were just like the most nicest people. They made me feel super welcome. They wanted to introduce me to everybody, and that was totally what I was all about. Like, I wanted to network. I wanted to meet as many people as possible and learn as much as possible in my short time in the States that I knew was kind of coming to an end. The one big event that I won't forget that I was a part of was the Fizzbomb. It was in Gillette, Wyoming, and that's where I was living, so it was pretty convenient that like the town I was in, they had this amazing race that we were a part of. So it worked out well because I had a futurity horse as well, so it was cool to kind of compete with that. Oh, the other cool thing is they had a 5-year-old, and it was a really well-bred, famous Bugs mare, and I absolutely loved her. And I guess the daughter was having a bit of issues, and the daughter already had a really nice open horse, and she had a pole horse. So they offered me this horse to run at Fizzbomb in the Derby. And it was honestly, looking back, I'm like, that was such an honor. Like, I was so thankful that they let me do that and get that experience. And like, we ended up doing really well. We placed 13th in the 1D average. So pretty much had 2 clean runs, and we're pretty competitive. And yeah, that was so cool. Like, I'm so happy I got to do that. My futurity mare didn't do very good, so that kind of made up for it, just to be able to be a part of it and do something else and maybe prove myself a little bit. So while at the Fizzbomb, like, it was just such a cool thing to be a part of and see a big race that you see in magazines that could be on the front cover, and it's like, wow, this like is kind of like making history, I guess. Like, it was just neat to see all the pros and watching them. I watched like all the exhibitions. I was just sitting there like just mesmerized by watching all these people and seeing what they're doing, and it was just really neat to be a part of something that I've only seen about and heard about and not actually seen in real life. So while at the Fizzbomb, we lived really close by, so we would drive back and forth, and so we always were parked pretty close. And while I was walking back and forth from the arena to the truck, I would obviously see some of the pros and try not to be starstruck, but it's kind of hard because I'm like, I don't know you guys, and you don't know who I am, but like, I know you and I've seen you before and whatever. So there was this one lady that she kind of kept staring at me, or we'd walk by and we'd kind of like smile at each other, and I was like, oh my god, this lady's like acknowledging my existence, this is crazy. And so we probably by like the last day, I think, we're standing near the results area, and she kind of came up to me, and she thought she knew who I was. So what happened was, there is another lady she knows that's from Canada, but she's from Quebec, and she thought I was that girl. So she asked someone else that I knew. She goes, hey, is that girl from Canada? And I mean, I am, but I wasn't the girl she was talking about. So she came up to me and asked if I was this name, and I was like, oh, like, nope, that's not me, but it's nice to meet you still. Like, so we were just talking, and kind of I was telling her about my story, and then her husband came over, and we're just chatting here and there, and they seemed really nice, and it was kind of cool just to talk to them in general. So I just kind of was telling them my deal and what I was doing in Wyoming and what my plans were in the future. And so they were leaving to go down south that like the next month, and they lost their intern girl. She had like she was only there temporary, so she was leaving. And I told them that that's what I was doing, and I just said, I was like, oh, I'd really like to kind of work at a trainer's for the last little bit, just because while I was in July, I was more or less riding by myself because the kids were in school and everything, so I'd ride during the day. And I guess I kind of reevaluated, like, the point of me going on this trip was to be learning and working and riding with the pros and all that, just to try and learn as much as I could. So I kind of lost that a bit. So after meeting them, I was like, you know, like, maybe I could like finish off with you guys and work for you, and then, you know, you could help me out and give me a lesson or something. So that's kind of ended up what happening. After the Fizzbomb, we talked right away. I you know, I sent them a message. I was like, it was really nice to meet you, and you know, like if you are looking for somebody, like you're only there about 2 hours away, so maybe I could go and spend my last month with you, or before they went down south as well. So that's kind of what happened, and from there a lot of stuff went down, and I'll say that for another story.